What's up, friends? Welcome into another episode of Tables, Tailgates, and Top Loaders. So happy to have you all aboard for this episode. I'm your host, as always, TB. Thank you so very much for stopping in and checking out the latest episode of the 3Ts. We have so very much to get to, so let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in. Bills Mafia, you are on the clock. Well, how are we feeling after the round one playoff wildcard game? Has your blood pressure come down? Because I'm not sure mine has yet. What a game. What a stressful game. I know we talked about the good old stress meter in the game preview. Got that sucker up to an 8 early in the week, and then it dropped right around a 5 or 6 heading into the game. Well, before the game started and at the beginning of the game, and for most of the game, if I'm being completely honest, it was operating around a 9. It was way too stressful, but Bills hang on and win 27-24. Yeah, so much to talk about in this game. First and foremost, there are a lot of receipts to hand out to a lot of national media clowns. Ryan Clark, yeah, I'm looking right at you. You shouldn't even have a job for some of the stupid takes that you have and that you just drop out there. But I don't know if you caught all of Ryan Clark's nonsense that he was spewing all over his socials before this game. Basically, he didn't care if it was the running back, if the running back had a game. He didn't care if the defense had a bad game. He didn't care if Sean McDermott had a bad game. He was going to basically place this whole loss on Josh Allen and only Josh Allen. So I'm just like, this guy is employed by, I think, ESPN, right? And he's allowed to just say whatever the hell he wants. So it's really ridiculous. You know, I listen to a lot of the nonsense. If you listen to my game preview, I talked about some of the national narratives that were going into this game. And frankly, it was becoming way too much. It was way too much. So yeah, a lot of receipts to hand out. First, let's start with the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, anyone? Did you all buy into the Trevor Lawrence hype? Well, it was way overblown, as it turns out. The X factor that I had talked about in my game preview, I said we need to turn back the clock and get good old T-Law back in action, because that's exactly what happened on Sunday. If you all thought he actually played well, I don't know. Look on the other side of the field, because he was not that great. So what are you all talking about? Yes, I know that they won 8 straight games, but he was 18 for 30. He threw for 207 passing yards. He threw 3 TDs and how many picks? 2 picks. These picks came when they mattered the most, specifically at the very last play of the game. Now, if you go back, I had talked about this before. Prior to this game, he's only played 2 playoff games. The first game, he threw 4 picks. And yesterday, he threw 2 more picks. So I don't want to hear it. He's got 6 picks in 3 playoff games. And they were calling this guy, oh, he's just like Josh Allen because he can run. He can do this. He could do that. He's amazing. I'm like, oh, yeah? Did you see anything prior to this 8-game stretch? Well, here he goes, and he craps all over himself. So congratulations, T-Law. You were just what I thought you were. I wanted the Bills to turn back the clock and get the old T-Law, and that's exactly what happens. And this whole idea of him running, well, he fell down on the key play of the whole game, the 4th and 2. Could you ever see him getting 10 yards out of a 4th and 1 on a tush push or snowplow or whatever you want to say? I don't know. It's just, get out of here with this Trevor Lawrence hype. It was way overblown. This is what I felt heading into the game, and my suspicions were right on. So what else with the Jags? Liam Cohen. Everyone was raving about Liam Cohen and how he had this team playing out of their mind, and they were, a freight train that no one could stop, and the Jags. Well, how do we feel Liam Cohen did after this game? Because he made a lot of pretty dumb decisions. They were doing really well running the ball, and he decided, nah, I don't think we're going to keep running the ball. I'm going to put the ball in the hands of my star quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. And it was like he was trying to show the world that the hype we had just talked about with Trevor Lawrence was justified. So his clock management, specifically at the end of the first half, leading into that debacle of the field goal nonsense, his clock management was just atrocious. So Liam Cohen, get out of here with your overblown hype. You had bad decisions the whole game, and I don't want to hear about it. Cam Little, we talked about this, and I said Cam Little and company were going to be an X factor heading into this game. Well, the Cam Little hype, yeah. That kick before halftime, the refs, the whole, was there time, was there no time? Clearly the clock showed 0, but yet here's this Cam Little hype, and it was almost like they were just trying to get him some airtime. I'm like, what is this, a Hollywood freaking movie? Like, this is ridiculous. They should be ashamed of themselves. The time was over. The time was gone. The half was over. It was like New York just wanted to showcase a little bit of Cam Little, a kicker, but everyone posted immediately that ball don't lie, and sure enough, he missed it. And the old man on the other side of the field, 42-year-old Matt Prater, he won out on the day, 5 for 5 on his kicks, including, mind you, a 50-yarder, a 47-yarder, and all 3 extra points. So Matt Prater coming through in the end with a 50-yard bomb. Good for you. But yeah, stress, I'll reiterate this. I don't know, Mafia, how are you feeling watching this game? I was stressed to the max. Like I said, probably 8, 9. I watched this game alone in my basement, and my wife was out of town for work. Normally she'll sit and watch the games with me. I got to be honest, thank goodness I was probably watching this game by myself, because there was definitely some screaming, definitely some yelling. I don't know what the over-under was for curse words being said or objects being thrown, but yeah, it was quite the Sunday afternoon. I'm just watching this game, just getting like frustrated though from what I'm seeing on the Jags, from the Jags team. Like, they're just playing dirty, and it was just nonsense. And it's one thing to go into a game and just get beat, but if you're going to get beat because they try to take out your players in like a dirty fashion, I got no place for that. And that whole aspect of the game, and we could talk about that as we move on, but that whole aspect of the game was just atrocious. Let's talk about some good things for the Bills. I want to start with Trey White, because holy cow, Trey White, wow. I'll start by saying this. I have been extremely guilty of speaking out against Trey White during the season, numerous times. In fact, I didn't know if it was exactly a good idea to bring him back. I was fine. Okay, let me rephrase. I was fine with bringing him back, but I didn't think he should have been a starting cornerback, specifically early in the season. But then injury upon injury, and it was just a mess. And you could see that he struggled in the first, half of the year, and he was still trying to find his form, still trying to get that old Trey form back in action, and it took him a while. And there were times when he was a detriment to the team. He looked slow. He looked just completely out of place. But to their credit, to McDermott's credit, to Bobby Babbitt's credit, to the Bills' credit, they stuck with him. And he has paid off dividends in the last quarter, the last third of this season. Specifically, Sunday afternoon, he came to play, and he has turned his season. He has rounded into old Trey White form. He was the best player on the defensive side of the ball. Probably both sides of the field, both teams. He shut down the Jags' newly acquired Jacoby Myers, their prized possession at the trade deadline. He shut him down and held him to one catch. So yeah, tip of the cap. Trey, I was wrong about you. Thank you for making me look like the fool, and I'll eat that. Just like all these other national clowns have to eat their bad takes. I've had a couple bad takes about Trey White, and he came out and balled out, and tip of the cap to you. It was awesome to see. But no doubt in my mind, this game came down to none other than JA-17, Josh freaking Allen. Look, there's people I think that make a living just by hating on this guy. They just try to stir the pot, and it's just blatant nonsense at this point. Who can possibly talk trash about Josh Allen now? You might not like the Bills. You might not root for the Bills, and that's fine. I don't care. I don't need you to love my quarterback, but game has to respect game, right? You have to at least respect what this man brings to the field, what he brings to the Bills, what he brings to upstate New York, what he brings to the whole NFL, what he brings to ratings. Are you kidding me? I mean, talk about going into a game having the deck stacked against him with all this all these unchecked boxes, right? They said, well, he's never won a road playoff game. Well, he checked that one off. This was the first road playoff win for the Buffalo Bills in 33 seasons. And it happened at the hands of 17, Josh freaking Allen. They said, well, he's never come back from a deficit in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. Boom, check it, mark it down, get the heck out of here with that one. His QB rating was off the charts when the Bills were behind in this game. It was ridiculous. He came in with injuries. They're like, oh, he's got the bad foot. Okay, well, let me add to the bad foot. Let me add a head injury, which occurred early in the game because some clown decided to do a diving elbow off the top rope. Let me add add a hand injury because he smashed his hand on one of his own offensive linemen's helmets. Let me add a knee injury because the dirty Jags tried to literally rip his leg out of its socket later in the game. And it's just like, okay, I see you. Yes, I'm a walking infirmary, but I'm still going to crush you when it matters with under 4 minutes left in this game. I'm going to march my team down the field and we're going to destroy you. And you're going to go back to Duval or whatever the hell stupid chant you want to say and cry on your pillows at night. So I don't know. I got to watch what I say. But the Jags, come on, man. You're dropping on him. You're trying to rip his helmet out. You're trying to take his knees out. It's like all over the field. And it's one thing if it's one play, but then it's 3-4 plays during the game. And you're specifically trying to intentionally trying to take out the best player on the field from both sides of the ball. That's not okay. But this dude, it's like, it's the Winter Soldier. I've seen the memes. We've talked about this before. There's cool like things going on that Josh is the Winter Soldier because he's ridiculous in the playoffs. And it's true. You can't say anything negative about Josh Allen in the playoffs. You can't. He is ridiculous. And then the injuries mounting up, it's clear he's not healthy. It's absolutely clear. And if you can't see it, you're blind. But this dude, I mean, if this was Lamar Jackson wouldn't take the field for 6 weeks. There's nothing the media can say at this point other than Josh Allen is great, specifically in the playoffs. He was 28 for 35. He threw for 273 passing yards. He threw for 1 TD. And then with his legs, he had 11 rushing attempts for 33 yards and 2 touchdowns. And check this out. I heard this morning. The first quarterback ever to have a 80% completion rating on his passes, rush for 2 tutties, and throw for another tutty. Rush for 2, throw for 1, and 80% completion percentage. The first quarterback in NFL history. Are you kidding me? It's like every time he takes a field, he's breaking some other record or he's putting himself in the record books in one way, shape, or form. This dude, is there anything this guy can't do? I don't know, man. They're down 4 points, under a minute to go. It's 24-20. Or I'm sorry, under the ball. Hold on, let me check my notes. They got the ball back with 4:03 left on the clock, and they were down 24-20. And he marched them all the way down the field to take the touchdown and go up 27-24 with a minute to go. 9 receivers caught a pass during this game. 9, including recently called up from the practice squad, Frank Gore Jr. Shout out to my boy Mike. So Mike's been waiting for a Frank Gore sighting, and here you go. Frank Gore caught a pass because everybody was eating yesterday, even though I refuse to talk about that anymore. But everybody got involved in this. It was crazy. And our wide receiver room, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but holy cow, are we in trouble. But Khalil Shakir, I mean, we talked about the 5 Joe Brady plays of doom. This one was rocking yesterday. How many times did we see the Shakir and Pray play? I mean, he was the target of 12 pass attempts, and he caught all 12 of them for 82 yards. Now, that's not crazy good ratio, but 12 for 82. So full disclosure, I watch this game and I sit down with a notepad and I literally write notes after every play. And it's just a little something to show what the play was, what the down and distance was, what the outcome was, yada, yada, yada. And I probably wrote the word screen many, many, many times in my notebook because I just felt like they were spamming the screen button to Shakir all day. It was maddening as a Bills fan knowing that I can't stand this play. But the flip side, the Jags almost knew it was coming and they couldn't stop it. Apparently, Joe Brady was like, let's just keep throwing these screens to Shakir and keep praying, and it's working. So there you go. So yeah, there was a lot of Shakir and pray yesterday, and thank God he was up for the task. Brandon Cooks connection? Who would have known that, a month ago? 6 weeks ago, this was going to be the key to opening up the offense for the Bills, but Brandon Cooks signed off of nowhere, waivers, whatever the case may be, and now the deep threat is a real thing because with less than 2 minutes to go in the game, just before the 2-minute warning was when Josh Allen unleashed the 35-yard bomb to Cooks to get us to the 19-yard line. So he caught 3 catches for 58 yards. He should have had the 4th catch. Now, you can go back and forth on reviewing that one. But that other one, in my opinion, which they actually overturned, I think that was a catch. So he could have had a much bigger day. What was that? That would have been like 4 for 80. The thing with him, he makes every catch look like it's the most difficult thing in the world. Like he's doing like ice dancing in the Olympics or something. I'm like, can you just catch the ball like a normal receiver? Just put your hands on it and catch it. We don't need the bobbling. We don't need the rolling. We don't need the diving. Just catch the freaking ball. Just catch it, dude. Other good, the kicking team, I've already talked about this. Old Matt Prater, 42-year-old Matt Prater. And the punter, Wisnowski, like at one point when he did the coffin corner punt and the ball went out of bounds at like the 2 or 3, I text my group chat, which is my kids and my buddy Mike, and it's like we have different text threads going on. I said, Wisnowski is my hero. And then a couple series later, he had to punt again, and it was like a 40-yard punt or some nonsense, and it looked like he shanked it. And I was like, well, he's no longer my hero. But anyway, I think for the most part, Prater and Wisnowski was handling the kickoffs. He did great. This whole idea, this X factor that the Jags had the far superior kicking team, not Sunday afternoon, they didn't. So awesome job. Awesome job. I'm hoping that it's not a cold versus warm weather thing for Prater and that he's good to go no matter where we're playing. Because if we have to play in Denver and it's cold, I want him to be ready to rock and roll. Well, we do have to play in Denver, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I hope it's not a cold thing because it's probably going to be a little chilly out in the Rocky Mountains. So anyway, Cole Bishop, man, look back at the beginning of the season and people were like, oh, I don't know about Cole Bishop. But his future right now we're a week into the playoffs, his future is so bright. And it would not shock me if he is thought of as a top 5 safety in this whole league in a matter of a year, maybe 2. But this dude is legit. And I love that he's playing free. He's playing fast. He gets after it. He's aggressive. I'm telling you, the Taylor Rapp thing, getting him off the field was the key to unlocking Cole Bishop, and then bringing in Jordan Poyer to be like this mentor, this teacher, this on the field guide to Cole Bishop has been leaps and bounds helpful to his progression. It's been amazing. What else? Osiris Torrance. Are you kidding me? We had a 4th and inches. This was a play of the game. We had a 4th and inches. This is the tush push. This is the final tush push. And this dude picks up Josh and carries him 10 yards. I guess I didn't see this upon first watch. And I've gone back and I've probably seen this play now 50 times. But this man literally picks up Josh Allen, who is a big boy. And he says, I got you, son. And he literally carries him 10 yards. He's carrying a grown man forward 10 yards towards the goal line. It was... Man, now in a year or 2, that play is probably going to be completely illegal. But for now, hey, we're going to enjoy the hell out of it. That was amazing. Torrance, Cybo, as they call him, that was awesome. Now, Coach McDermott, this could easily have been flipped to the bad side of the ledger, but he had his guys ready to go. But the one complaint I had about McDermott, and we could talk about the should he have knelt, should he have taken a knee at the end to run some of the clock out. We could talk about that. But the challenge at the beginning when it was that play where Trevor Lawrence was kind of like diving and he was like 5 yards short and he decides to dive and his shin grazes the ground. And then Shaq Thompson may have put his hand on him. But the challenge, it was like I was watching a freaking Hollywood movie. It seemed the camera had zoomed in on McDermott. Everyone knew that T-Law was down. And McDermott is like slow motion, like Wyatt Earp at the OK Corral, like about to draw his gun. And we're like, oh my God, he's not going to pull the flag out of his pocket. And then he finally pulls the flag out of his pocket. And he's like sitting there kind of holding it. I'm like, holy cow, just throw it in that freaking field, dude. It seemed to take forever for him to throw the flag. So I'm like, this slow motion. Do you all have this camera in slow motion right now? Because I don't know what he's doing. He's sitting there. Just throw the flag, please. I think I stopped breathing for 2 minutes. But then the huge final drive knee debate. After Cybo picks J.A. up and travels him, 10 yards towards the goal line. I kind of go back and forth on this because right then and there, I'm immediately texting, take a knee. Ultimately, then very next play, they do the tush push once again, and it was like the Jags kind of parted the Red Sea and just let him go in. They just let him score, and they got the ball back with a minute left. And there's a lot of debate out there that this was good, this was bad. I could see it from both sides. As a fan, you want that clock to show 0 because we have so many scars from Music City Miracle and 13 seconds and all this other nonsense. As a coach, you want the points. You don't want to leave anything to chance because of games like Minnesota and all this, and the Tennessee game. So you don't want to leave anything to chance. So I could see it both ways. But giving the opposition and giving Cam Little, who can kick the ball from the parking lot, any chance to tie the game or win the game, you kind of want to avoid that. So in the moment, I was like, holy cow, why are they not taking a knee, bleed this thing down to 25 seconds, and then just tush push 3 times, game's over, we walk off the field. So I could see it both ways. I'm not mad about it because obviously we won, but you never know how these things are going to play out. The bad news of the game, bad news. Oh, it sucked seeing Gabe Davis get hurt. Because he worked his ass off to get back on that field. He is clearly well liked by Josh and his teammates, and he clearly had an impact in the receiving room and on the field. I love the way he plays. Is he a top of the charts wide receiver? No, but I think he kind of settled things down a little bit with his presence, and it just sucked to see him get carted off with the towel draped over his head. And it's clear he messed up the same knee that he just got back from recovering and all that stuff, and he's done. And it just sucks, and I feel terrible for him. So my thoughts are with him. I really hope it's not catastrophic, but from what we saw during the game, it looks pretty bad. But we have a significant wide receiver numbers problem right now. With Davis done, literally before the game, or a day or two before the game, they put Josh Palmer on IR because Josh Palmer can't stay healthy. I don't know what a waste of a year that was. But now we're down to Shakir, Brandon Cooks, Tyrell Shavers, who also kind of had some injury he was struggling with in the game, and Keon Coleman. That's it. That's our wide receiver room. So we have 4 wide receivers, and we are in trouble. And I don't know what they do. I've heard talk that they'll promote Mecole Hardman from the practice squad. I don't know. What do you do? But you can't obviously go into a game, a playoff game, round 2 with 4 wide receivers, so they're going to have to do something. Curtis Samuel was the other name I had heard floating out there that they might re-sign him. Oh, boy. I can't wait to sign Curtis Samuel again because he's been so effective. So I don't know. But Jordan Poyer, he re-aggravated the quad. He was unable to finish the game. He might be out next week. Jordan Hancock came in, and he was terrible. It was clear that they were going right after Jordan Hancock, and he got gashed play after play. It was bad. So hopefully the Poyer thing, like I said, him coming in, everyone kind of laughed at it, scoffed at it. I get it. Old man, I mean, we're bringing back all the old guys. Trey White, Jordan Poyer, Jordan Phillips. It was, hey, get the band back together. But Jordan Poyer, like I said, he calmed that secondary down, and he was such a leader, instrumental into the growth of Cole Bishop. It sucks. I want him to be out there on the playoffs just, for like his own kind of journey. I want to see that. I would love to see us get that Super Bowl with Poyer on the field. That'd be awesome. But he might not play next week. And so what do you do there? Because Hancock looked way lost. So I don't know. DeMar, he's still in his 21-day practice window. You bring him back? I don't know. I might just roll the dice with Jordan Hancock at this point. But the Ray Davis fumble, holy cow. I don't know. That could have been a turning point, but thank God that the defense completely bailed the Bills out and Trevor fell down. That was the challenge. He literally fell down, and yeah, but let's continue to compare him to Josh Allen. Sure, whatever. What other negatives, bad stuff do I want to talk about? The broadcast, if you all weren't at the game and you listened to this fiasco on TV, Tony Romo, I used to love Tony Romo. I used to love listening to him commentate games. He's almost insufferable now. Almost insufferable. The joke, and I've said this before, the joke used to be Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. Everyone loved Mike Tirico, and everyone hated Chris Collinsworth. Well, now I've flip-flopped. Give me Chris Collinsworth over Tony Romo any day of the week because I just like laughing at the things he says. Tony Romo, I want to mute everything he says. He's a rambling mess. He's a rambling mess. He's just like, oh, we got ourselves a game, Jim. And that's what great players do. He brings nothing to the table. Nothing. So frustrating. just a mess. And then I felt like every series, every questionable call, they're going to their rules analyst, Gene Steratore, and he needs to never work again. Like, things to blast into the sun for 500, Alex. I can't take this guy. He is the most worthless addition to any booth I've ever heard in my life. He's never right. Half the stuff he says is just not right. And then the ref crew or the head announcer, the head ref comes out and usually says something that totally goes against what Gene Steratore just says. And then he just changes his opinion and agrees. And there's like, what are we doing? Just get off my TV. The refs, oh boy. The refs should be ashamed of themselves. How is there zero accountability when it comes to NFL officiating? I mean, there is zero accountability. There is no way in hell anyone in their right mind could ever explain the end of the first half with that field goal debacle. There is zero chance that can be explained. You all blew that call, and the fact that you are not ever going to be held accountable for that is just absolutely ridiculous to me. And then later in the game, we have questionable calls. The phantom defensive hold, I think they called it on Benford, and they showed a replay for 1 second, and they never went back to that. But everyone's like, that wasn't a hold. But how do you make some of these calls that are clearly impacting the game? They were about to hand the Jags 3 points at halftime for no reason whatsoever. That was brutal. But refs, y'all should be freaking ashamed of yourselves. But what a game. I mean, what a game. The Mafia showed up. They showed out. Shout out to my daughter. She was there. She lives down in Jacksonville. I talked to her after the game. Positive reports from her. She gave props to the Jags fans. She said they were friendly, they were cordial, there was no issues, but tons of Bills Mafia showing up. So even in defeat, the Jags fans were gracious. They didn't really cause any problems. They were taking pictures of her and her boyfriend. And so shout out to Jags fans for not being complete D-bags, because your team, some of your players were. So thanks for taking the high road when some of your team, it's so frustrating. But it's nice to know that there are at least some stadiums you could go to as an opposing fan, sit there, cheer respectfully, and not get heckled and not get beer thrown on you and not get spit on and all kinds of stuff and not get in fights. We had talked all week about this game and about whether, who was going to try to go. And anyway, last minute, they ended up getting tickets and they ended up going. And in the back of my mind, I'm just worried. I'm worried that it's going to be, an unruly, disruptive mess, and she's not going to have fun and people are going to harass her and bother her. But to their credit, like I said, shout out to the fans. Y'all rock. So tip of the cap to the Jags fans, but not to the team. But yeah, I mean, what a game. What a game. Oh, boy. I think, and I'll stand by this, I said in my game preview that whoever won this game is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I really do believe that. I think the Bills can go into Denver and win this game, and we'll talk about that here in a second and as the week progresses. But looking around the rest of the playoffs, the other bad news, the Chargers. What the hell, man? The Chargers, did you even show up Sunday night? Y'all played like garbage. 6 points? Really? 6 points? Justin Herbert, 6 points? Really? This is what we do every year. We hype the Chargers up. Oh, they're so good. This is their time. It's Justin Herbert's time. Blah, 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 blah. And then everyone starts to believe, and everyone starts to believe. It's just like Trevor Lawrence. The hype gets to be too much. Everyone starts to buy in, and then they just turn into the old Chargers. It's the same old crap. There are certain things you can just hang your hat on. You wait for the old Trevor Lawrence to show up, that happened. You wait for the old Chargers to show up, and that happened. It's the same crap every single year. So thanks a lot for showing up. You didn't even have to score much. You could have made it a game, but you scored 6 points in New England. Oh my goodness. I don't know. Thanks. So there goes the AFC Championship in Highmark, which means we now turn our attention to the number 1 seed, the Denver Broncos. That's the reward for the big dub in Jacksonville. And now we will go out west and we will meet Bo Nix and the Broncos. So let's go, because I think despite the fact that it's a short week, we have to play them sometime Saturday, whether it's 4:30 or 8 o'clock. I think we'll be up for the task. And I'm going to do a divisional round game preview later this week. But before we move on to the rest of the show, I want to drop a special playoff edition, if money were no object, buy of the week, because I already hopped on the old Ticketmaster. I was already looking to see what tickets were available. If any of you Mafia members want to get on a plane and head out west to the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. Right now, the cheapest ticket to get you in the door is $485, and you're sitting way up top. Way up top. But if you want 2 seats, row 10, section 122, it's right about on the 45-yard line. On the Bills side of the field, 2 seats is going to set you back $2,600. $2,670 total, including fees. How are we feeling about that, Mafia? You got to get yourselves out there. I wouldn't recommend driving to Denver, so maybe it's going to cost you a little extra for some accommodations, including flight and hotel. So maybe you're looking at, I don't know, they probably jacked the hotels through the roof. Maybe you're looking at, I don't know, $4,000, $5,000, $4,500 to go out there for this game. How are we feeling? If money were no object, somebody want to shell me out $4,500 so I can get out to Denver for this one? Because I would love to sit in row 10, section 122 on the Bills side of the field and cheer my boys on to the next dub. But the other game is going to be New England versus the winner of tonight's Houston versus Pittsburgh game, or whenever you're recording or listening to this, you'll probably already know the winner, but we shall see what happens. But anyway, Wrestling Marks, it's time to move on. How are we feeling? Wrestling Marks, welcome to 2026. Are we officially on the road to WrestleMania? The calendar has turned. Things are already starting to get crazy, and I'm already looking at some of the programming. We watched Raw, we watched SmackDown. There have been a couple shows already underway. Is 2026 the year that we're just going to start trying some random stuff? First Raw of the year, the 1 year anniversary on Netflix, they decided to drop this Stranger Things WWE crossover event, and I'm watching this going, what the hell is the point of this? Now, full disclosure, I love Stranger Things. My wife and I just binged like the whole 5 season stretch, and we finished the whole show pretty recently after the finale dropped. But I'm like watching this wrestling show, I'm like, is this necessary? Why is Netflix hyping up their own show? You have the streaming rights to both Netflix and WWE Monday Night Raw. So why are you hyping up one show when it's on the same app? I just don't understand. It was so weird. I don't know. That was a weird show. There's a lot of craziness. So I'm like, is this just the year that we're going to try some crazy nonsense? But the main event was Braun versus CM Punk for the title. I don't know. This was okay, despite the botches, because it was a little bit sloppy. I'll be the first to say it was a bit sloppy. I was not expecting the sloppiness between these two. I was a bit surprised that Punk retained in what was, it was an okay match. It was good. I wouldn't say it's great by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, you had your patented schmaz in the middle of the match, but once that finished and the ring kind of cleared out, Punk won. He goes over clean. Yeah, I was a bit shocked, and now we'll see if Punk is actually going to carry the belt on into WrestleMania and where we go from there. Do they have a remake? Do they have a rematch? Do they run this back as one of the night's main events? We shall see what happens. But then SmackDown, that just happened last Friday, SmackDown for Berlin, Germany. Let's just fast forward to the main event, because just over the 2-hour mark in the show, it's probably right around 2:10, 2:15, we get this fire promo package. You know how I love promo packages. They're some of the best in the business. People in other industries need to go to WWE and watch their promos and how they make these hype videos, because they produce some of the best hype promo content out there, hands down, bar none. And so this promo package highlighted this seemingly never-ending saga between Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, and Drew McIntyre, and they always manage to find the absolute best music to put over top of these promos, and it was Disturbed's I Will Not Break, and it definitely set the mood for this 3 Stages of Hell match for the title on the last hour of SmackDown. And the whole last hour of SmackDown, no commercials. I love it. They should do this every week, whether they have a championship match or not. Great promo. If you haven't seen it, go back and check it out. The match was, we'll talk about it, but anyway, the promo package was fire. As I said, this was a 3 Stages of Hell match. Now, the stipulations, if you don't know what a 3 Stages of Hell match is, one of the contestants or both of the contestants are able to choose what the stipulation for each section of the match are. So they're basically 3 falls. It's like a 3-fall match. Drew came out and he's like, this is what I want. I want the first stage to be a plain old wrestling match. And I was like, plain old wrestling match? What? that's lame. The second stage, I want it to be a Falls Count Anywhere match, and you're like, okay, this is pretty stupid. And then the third stage, he wanted it to be a steel cage match. So when they set up, you always know that the first two falls are going to be split, because why would they ever create a 3-stage of hell match if you're never going to get to the third stage, right? So there you go, plain wrestling match, Falls Count Anywhere, third stage, cage match. But anyway, we're off and running. Stage 1 ends kind of quickly. I mean, it's a low blow. Drew kicks Cody with a low blow. Ref gets distracted, and then he hits him with a Claymore to the face, and it's a 1, 2, 3. I mean, we are not even 10 minutes in. I would say this is right around the 7-minute mark in the match, and the champ is eating a pinfall after a low blow. I'm like, okay, on we go to the Falls Count Anywhere. So then they start going all over the arena. They're doing stuff off the different like steps and scaffolding, and it was pretty good. And then they work their way back towards the ring. Cody hits a crossroads on the announce table, which was pretty good, and he gets pinfall number 2, because as I said earlier, you can't have a 3 stages of hell match if you don't split the first 2 stages. It would make no sense. So then they manage to get back in the ring, and the cage lowers over the 2, and we are off and running for the cage match. There's a crazy spot with a superplex on Cody, who's trying to leave from over the top of the rope, and Drew kind of drags him back. Cody's kind of hanging over the top of the cage, and they do this superplex move. It was awesome. There was a lot of shaking there, and there was definitely some potential for a terrible finish to that move, but thank goodness they pulled that one off. It could have been bad. There's another cool reversal spot. Cody does this. He kind of comes off the ropes and does this almost like a Hurricane Rana right into the crossroads in the middle of the ring and gets a near fall. That was a cool spot. And then Cody into the bare turnbuckle, the turnbuckle had gotten ripped off, so exposing the metal ring. He goes into the metal ring, eats a Claymore, and kicks out. And I'm like, wait a minute. 7 minutes into this match, he gets kicked with a low blow, and he's already eaten the pin. Here he hits his head on this bare turnbuckle, takes another Claymore, and he's kicking out, and we're 40 minutes into the match or 30 minutes into the match. Yeah, help me make sense, but it doesn't. So on we go. Then there's this pretty good Cody cutter from the top of the cage. It's crazy that Drew essentially has to catch Cody for this move to look sick, and he catches him, and it can't be easy, so I give them both a lot of credit. They got to have a lot of faith in each other to protect themselves, but that was a sick move. Drew kicks out. Drew goes for the door, because we're doing, you can escape, you can go through the door, you can go over the top, or you can take the pin, but he's about to escape, and a hooded figure revealed to be a returning Jacob Fatu attacks Drew. Cody then pulls Fatu off of Drew and starts going at it, and Fatu turns on Cody. There's a schmaz. Drew escapes, and he wins with the title, and the place goes nuts. So people may be sick of seeing champion Cody Rhodes. I know I was. Hey, I was glad that they finally decided to change the belt and put it on Drew, because you couldn't keep running this back. You couldn't keep doing what you did with him through the entirety of 2025. He was having all these feuds, specifically with Cody, back and forth, and he never won anything. So finally, the calendar's turned, and away he goes. He wins it on the first live SmackDown of the new year. Now, I know it's not the first SmackDown of the year, but the first one they had, I think it was January 2nd. It was a pre-taped program, and it didn't matter. So this was essentially the first live SmackDown of the new year, and he wins the title, and it's awesome, because I think this is the first time in almost 6 years or something like that the title has changed hands on a SmackDown. This is what you need to do. You need to at least change up some of this stuff. You need to have not that you need to hot potato the title, but you have to at least have the idea that it could happen. So I don't need you to change it every month, but once a year, changing your titles up on your Monday and Friday shows, that's not a bad idea. It just keeps things fresh. It keeps things moving. And so, yeah, I love it. I hope Cody doesn't immediately get a rematch. Maybe we could separate these two for a while. And now with the return of Jacob Fatu, maybe he's poised for a big push. I'm all for it. I would love to see that, a Fatu McIntyre storyline, or maybe a Fatu Cody storyline. I would love to see where one of those goes. Let's push the new guys in this year. Push the new guys, see what shakes out. I love the fact that they put the U.S. title on Carmelo Hayes. He's awesome for that. Yeah, let's give some of these young up and comers a chance and a time to shine. So we are 2 weeks away from the next Saturday night's main event from Montreal, and then just a week after, we are going to be back in my favorite place, Saudi Arabia, for the Royal Rumble. Now we will do a preview for that event as we get closer, but I'm hoping that there's a big chance that they push some of these young guys we just talked about to the moon. This is my favorite time of year, hands down. I can't wait to see where we go. I love the turning in the calendar, rolling into Rumble. I love Elimination Chamber. Side note, my wife surprised me with an early birthday present and got me tickets to the Elimination Chamber in Chicago. I am so stoked to go to that. I can't freaking wait. That's always been one of my favorite pay-per-views. The Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania combo 1, 2, 3. It's my favorite time of year. So yeah, super, super pumped for that. But I think that's going to wrap up the wrestling portion. Hobby enthusiasts, cardboard collectors, how are we feeling? The calendar has been flipped for you as well, and I'm not sure we are any better than where we were 6 to 12 months ago. What I'm seeing, what I'm reading on the socials, every time a major product drops, it seems like these drops are becoming worse and worse, and you have to wonder if there will be any sort of improvement on the horizon. I know the issues I've had with recent product drops, and people have been experiencing the same difficulties with other products, if not worse than what I'm dealing with, but it's the same story over and over again. Now that Topps literally owns everything, it's very frustrating because Topps tells you that the product is going to come out on such and such a date at such and such a time, and sometimes what I'm noticing recently is they'll tell you less than 48 hours before the product goes to pre-sale, but they tell you, hey, it's coming out, I don't know, tomorrow at noon, for example. You go to the website, you have to wait in a queue just to get into the room to buy the product, and then once you make it in the room and you add the product to your cart, if it even is available, you go into another queue to wait in line to actually buy it. And what people are experiencing is when they're in this queue with the item in their cart, the item disappears and it says sold out. And it's just time after time after time. It just doesn't work. If you're lucky and it doesn't say sold out when you initially get in the site, and then you put it in your cart and then you go to check out and you wait in another line and it's sold out anyway. So it's just crazy. It just seems like it's going from bad to worse, and people are claiming that they're told the product is no longer available, but yet they go back and refresh the website 2 minutes later and then it pops up again. It's just like, it's so broken. The most recent example that I dealt with, I was trying to buy a John Cena commemorative collection set that Topps had released. It was like a 25 card set right after John Cena's retirement match, and you didn't get much warning about this. It told you to be on the website at noon on whatever day, or 1 o'clock, whatever day. So I did. I was there, refreshed instantly as the clock turned to the 1 p.m. mark, and there's the product. So, okay, great. Click buy, add it to the cart, and it was glitching all over the place, and it instantly told me it was sold out, and then it told me it was available. So then I would add it to the cart, I go to check out, and now I'm waiting in a line, and I'm waiting 2, 3, 5 minutes. I finally get to my place in the line to go check out, and then the product says it's no longer available, and it's just like rinse and repeat over and over and over again. So if you're not ready to go 3 to 5 minutes after the product launches, specifically on these, like the products that people are really, really excited about, you have no shot at all. And it's super, super frustrating. Now, with the John Cena thing, so it kept telling me sold out. So I reluctantly left the site, and then I think I waited like 6 to 7 minutes. I went back to the Topps website, refreshed everything, and I was able to buy one right away. And then 2 minutes after that, no one else could get one. So it's just like there's no rhyme or reason. You're literally just guessing if the site's going to work, number one, and if you're going to be able to get the product, number two. So the other option is to sell everything by EQL, which is the lotto system. And at this point, I think we should just switch everything to it. All your top end products, all your high end demand products, just put them all EQL. At least make each and every process total luck, total randomness. At least then I can pretend that it's not bots swinging in and buying out all the product. Give everyone the same random chance. And because the only other option is to wait for the breakers to snatch everything up. And now you're paying 3, 4, 5, 6 times over market price. And it's just a mess. It's a total freaking mess. But anyway, what else is actually going on in the card market? The Nick Kurtz patch rookie debut auto. This went up for auction. Now this was the product, right? This was out of Chrome Update. Yeah, Topps Chrome Baseball Update. And all the top rookies from last year, they had the patch taken off their jersey, put into the card. It's a 1-of-1. It's the patch and it's the auto. This was the Skeens card that went for $1.1 million last year. Well, Nick Kurtz was Rookie of the Year from the Oakland Athletics. And currently, there's 8 days left. This auction is up to $280,000. And like I said, 8 days to go. Can it close the gap to Skeens? I had said initially, I think this card's probably going to end up around the $500,000 mark. So 500,000, 500K. I don't think there's any chance this card gets close to Skeens, but we shall see what happens. Topps finally came out Monday. It's 2026, so the calendar has switched, and everyone has known, everyone who follows baseball anyway, knows that the flagship Topps Series 1 baseball, probably their most popular product for the whole year, outside of Chrome, but their base product, base paper product that is delivered to the masses. This usually releases right around February. Well, Monday, they finally came out and said that the design was ready and the product was releasing for pre-sale basically today, if you're listening to this, Tuesday, January 13th. So you had less than 12 hours to make up your mind whether you were going to try to jump in for the pre-sale. But they finally released the design. They finally put out some product details. And I got to tell you, I actually like this design a heck of a lot better than the 2025 design. On the upper left corner of the card, it almost looks like a stitched fabric jersey material style that they have, looking like it almost looks like the player's jersey is kind of the border to the card, which I think it looks really cool. It makes it look like it's a baseball uniform. To just, long story short, it looks like a baseball uniform, at least in the top around the edges, and I like it. So obviously you still have the player images. This is the 75th anniversary of Topps Baseball, so they are throwing the Top 75 logo on the front, and it works well with the theme. I think the style looks nice. You're going to get 1952 Top style variations, including historical, I'm reading this from their blurb, including historical tie-ins across some of the cards. Per usual, Series 1 is going to be 350 card base set. You're going to have stars, rookies, future stars, league leaders, and team cards, things like that. The cover, if you've seen the cover, I really like what they did with the cover. It shows Hank Aaron and Ken Griffey Jr., and then underneath your current reigning MVPs of Shohei and Aaron Judge. So I think it's cool. It's an anniversary themed set, and I'm kind of really excited about it. And I know it's paper. I know it's printed to the moon. This is usually way overprinted, and your odds are terrible. But like I said, I like the design. You have to have a product that people can afford, number one, and that you can get it into the hands of people who actually like baseball cards. So what I'm seeing so far, so good. Now you're going to see some of the same returning inserts, including all aces. The heavy lumber are huge hits. The home field advantages, the HFAs, the 35th anniversary inserts. We are now at, and this is crazy to think about, 35 years ago, it's 1991. So I was 35 years ago. That's crazy. So I can't remember what the 91 Topps design is. I'm sure I can Google it, but that's going to be your throwback card. A hobby box. Look, I love the price point. It's $100. You get 240 cards, one auto or relic. Yes, I know it's no guaranteed auto, but for $100 and 240 cards, that's the sweet spot if you're just a card collector and you just want to get the new set, right? I think it's going to release the first or second week of February. I think it's right around like Valentine's Day. A jumbo box, you're looking at $199, so 200, and you get 400 cards. You're guaranteed one auto and one relic card. So all in all, for you Top Series 1, your flagship baseball fans, get ready because they dropped it today at noon. Your boy TB was able to land a jumbo hobby, and I'll be ripping that in right around a month from now. So super excited for the upcoming 2026 Topps baseball year ahead. But I think that's going to wrap it up. I tried to cover a little bit of everything today, but if you have enjoyed this episode or any of the episodes of the 3Ts podcast, do your boy a favor, share it with someone you know, whether they are a fellow Mafia member on that Bills playoff hype train, a card collector, or someone who just loves wrestling, professional wrestling, that is. It doesn't matter. Trying to grow this thing one episode at a time. So please hit that follow, hit that like, leave me a quick review, help me build this thing together. And as always, I appreciate you all very, very much. So until next time, whether it's ripping packs, breaking tables, or dropping elbows, keep doing what you love. And as always, go Bills.